Hi everyone, it's Pastor Wagner. This is my weekly video blog. Today I want to talk about premillennialism and how we can destroy that false doctrine within 10 minutes or less. So premillennialism is the teaching that Christ will come back prior to the millennium. That's why it's called pre, or the coming of Christ is pre or prior to the millennium. So premillennialism teaches that Christ will return and he will resurrect the righteous dead, and then he will set up his millennium for 1,000 literal years on earth, and then at the end of the millennium he will resurrect the wicked and judge them. So therefore historic premillennialism teaches that the resurrection of the righteous and the wicked will be 1,000 years apart, one before the millennium, one after the millennium. Dispensational premillennialism teaches that Christ will come back 7 years prior to setting up the millennium with the so-called rapture, and he'll resurrect the righteous dead, and then 7 years later he'll return to set up his millennium on earth, and then 1,000 years after that he will resurrect the wicked dead and judge them. So therefore dispensational premillennialism would teach that there is 1,007 years between the resurrection of the righteous and the wicked, so there would be two resurrections in both of those systems. Now, the foundation of both of these false doctrines can be destroyed by the simple fact that the Bible teaches that there is one resurrection of the just and unjust at the last day, at the end of the world. Let me give you the verses. In Acts 24 and verse 15, Paul says, "And have hope toward God, which they themselves also allow, that there shall be a resurrection of the dead, both of the just and the unjust." So there will be one resurrection of the dead, both of the just and unjust. So the just and the unjust get resurrected at the same time. There's only one resurrection. John 5:28 and 29, Jesus said, "Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in the which all that are in the graves shall hear his voice." Notice that, all that are in the graves. Not just the wicked, not just the righteous, but all that are in the graves. "And they shall come forth, all of them, they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. All that are in the grave shall come forth." One group goes to the resurrection of life, they go to heaven. The other goes to the resurrection of damnation, they go to hell, the lake of fire. And this happens on the last day. Look at John 11 and verse 24. "Martha saith unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day." Talking about her brother Lazarus who had died. But Martha knew that the resurrection was at the last day. Jesus himself said in John 6:39, "And this is the Father's will which hath sent me, that of all which he hath given me I should lose nothing, and should raise it up again at the last day." See, the resurrection's at the last day. Now, these other schemes teach that the resurrection of the righteous, which Jesus is talking about here, the ones that he shouldn't lose any, they teach the resurrection of the righteous is 1,000 years or 1,007 years before the last day. But Jesus said he'd raise them up at the last day, the end of the world. John 6:40. "And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day." Now Jesus taught a couple of parables in which he showed that the righteous and the wicked would live together on the earth until the end of the world. Matthew 13, verses 36 through 43. This is the explanation of the parable of the wheat and the tares. Remember the parable that the good men went out and sowed wheat in his field, and then an enemy came and sowed tares, and when they saw the tares come up, the servants asked, "Should we pull up the tares before the wheat harvest?" And he said, "No, let them both grow together until the harvest, and then pluck them up and separate them at that time." And here's Jesus' explanation of that parable. Then Jesus sent the multitudes away, and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, "Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field." He answered and said unto them, "He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy which sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Jesus says it's going to be this way at the end of the world. The Son of Man is going to come back and separate the wheat from the tares, the good from the evil, cast the wicked into hell, and the righteous are going to shine forever in the kingdom of their Father. At the end of the world, remember, they both dwell together till the end of the world. Jesus taught another parable, Matthew 13:47 through 50. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which, when it was full, they drew to shore, and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angel shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. The end of the world, the wicked are severed from the just. The just aren't severed from the wicked 1,000 years or 1,007 years prior to the end of the world. The end of the world, the wicked are severed from the just at that time. You see? The second coming of Christ will be like it was in the days of Noah and in the days of Lot, whenever the righteous and the wicked dwelled together until the same day that the righteous were saved and the wicked were destroyed. Listen to it in Luke 17:26 through 30. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. You see, remember the days of Noah? Noah and his family, the only 8 righteous people on the earth, they dwelt with the wicked until that day, the last day Noah and his family were saved in the ark, which is a picture of Jesus Christ, and the wicked, the whole world, are destroyed on the same day. Verses 28 through 30. Likewise also, as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. And listen to this. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. When Jesus is revealed from heaven in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not God and obey not the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, that's the day when the wicked are destroyed, the righteous are saved on the last day at the end of the world. No 1,000-year span between the resurrection of the wicked and the righteous. And that right there cuts the legs right out from underneath of both historic premillennialism and dispensational premillennialism. If you're interested more in this topic, I'm doing a whole sermon series on it right now, in which I will post the links to the sermons on the church website in the description of this video. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you again next week, Lord willing.